Hello everyone, welcome back to Easy Online English. I'm Sahara and today we are reviewing the word of the year for 2020. Now, unsurprisingly, the word of the year is pandemic. This year's situation has really changed the way many of us have lived, and it's introduced many new words into our daily conversations. So in today's video, we'll be doing two things. We'll be looking at a paraphrasing exercise, and we will be looking at actual words that English speakers are using to describe 2020. Let's go.
If you want to know the translation in your language, be sure to check the translated subtitles here.
So like I said, in this video, we are doing a paraphrasing exercise. We typically describe paraphrasing as using your own words. And this just means using similar words to summarize something that you have read or you've heard somebody else say. And we'll be using an excerpt from thesaurus.com today, and it is about words that have become commonplace this year. So let's read the excerpt. Well, what a year it has been. From a global pandemic, protests and riots in parts of the United States, national and local elections, online learning and remote work. Describing 2020 in just a word or two seems like a daunting task. With terms such as quarantine, social distancing, and Zoom parties, it seems like our everyday lexicon will forever be changed by the words and phrases that have permeated our conversations this year. But which words really describe this past year? We asked thesaurus.com fans to put their wordsmithing to the test. Here are the words they chose to best sum up 2020. Now, before we go on to paraphrasing, let's review some of the vocabulary in this short little excerpt. The first word is daunting. And daunting is just the feeling of being intimidated, or maybe a feeling that something is difficult to deal with. The next one is lexicon. A lexicon is a dictionary, or it's also a vocabulary of a person or people or a language. The next one is permeate. Permeate is to spread or to diffuse through something. And the last one is thesaurus. Thesaurus is a type of dictionary, but instead of giving you direct definitions, it gives you similar and opposite words to use. And the last one is wordsmith. Wordsmith is just a person who is a skilled user of words and vocabulary. So they're being creative by changing the word into a verb here. Now, in this paragraph here, they're using these words to be a little emotive and a little dramatic. And I believe that the author is even using the word permeate because it even reminds us of a virus and how a virus can spread amongst people. So let's go ahead and look at the paraphrasing. Now remember, these are my own words, so I'm going to summarize for you. 2020 has been difficult, and it's also difficult to describe it with just one word. The new words quarantine, social distancing, and Zoom parties have entered everyday conversations. And it feels like these words will change the way we communicate forever. Let's look at a list of choices readers have submitted to describe 2020. See how in my paraphrasing, I've used simpler and more direct language to explain what the author is saying in the original piece. I have reduced the meaning of each part into just one sentence. I've also replaced some of the more difficult words with simpler words. So instead of daunting to mean intimidating, I just said difficult. Instead of permeate, I just used the word entered. The goal here is to capture the meaning of the original and the spirit of the words in just a shorter way. Okay, so now let's actually look at what the users have submitted to thesaurus.com. And remember, these are actual English speakers that are trying to describe how their 2020 is. Okay, the first word we have from a user is chaotic. Chaotic. And chaotic is an adjective, and it just means to be in a state of confusion or disorder. So when I think of this word, sometimes I think of like a messy room. Everything is out of place. Everything is in chaos. The next one is unprecedented. Unprecedented. And this is another adjective, and it means that something is not known. There's no example. There's no model. We've never seen this before. And I've heard this sentence so many times this year. I've said it myself. I've heard it on the news. I've heard it in conversations. But the sentence is, these are unprecedented times. These are unprecedented times. So it just means that everyday life is changed and we have no model for it. The next one, this user says, hellacious. Hellacious. And this is another adjective. It just means very bad, very difficult, or overwhelming. And if you notice in the word, it says hell. So this word definitely makes us think of something that causes a lot of suffering. So it's very bad. The next one is pretty funny. Not really a word, but we included it anyway. It is ah. And this is an onomatopoeia. And you could type this if you wanted to sound frustrating, or if you wanted to sound like you were yelling or screaming about something. And of course, it's not a word, but I think you and I and everyone knows the feeling that this user is describing. The next one is otherworldly. Otherworldly. And this is another adjective. It just means that something feels unreal or maybe imaginary, something that is related to something magical or spiritual, even surreal. And you might have heard a lot of people say this year. You may have even said it. You know, this doesn't feel real. Or I feel like I'm living in a movie, right? Otherworldly is trying to capture that emotion that those sentences mean. It just doesn't feel real. It's otherworldly. This user says preventable. Preventable. And of course, this word means able to be stopped, right? It could be prevented. And they are making a statement with their submission here. The user is saying something very simple and powerful. He is choosing the word preventable, and he is criticizing the response of his own government with this word. The last one is pandemonium. Pandemonium. And this one is kind of related to chaos, but it is a noun. And it just means wild and noisy disorder and confusion. When I think of this word, I think about maybe a crowd of people or a mob of people. Maybe they are rioting or screaming or something. And Uh, like I said, this is pretty similar to chaos. It also reminds people of the story of Pandora's box from Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, there's a story of a woman who opens a box and all of evil is let out into the world. Thank you guys for watching another video with us on Easy Online English. And we want to wish you a happy new year. And I know that others might enjoy this sentiment. We would like to say good riddance to 2020, which is a very rude thing to say when you want to tell somebody to leave or go away. So good riddance 2020, welcome 2021. We hope that you guys have a great new year. You have a safe, happy, and healthy holiday. See you later.